Good evening, I'm Dean Nash.
And I'm Courtney Adams, and this is the year that was. 2018, the year where we welcomed an army of babies into the world.
007 had a little girl.
I think you mean Rachel did.
That's exactly what I meant. The royals gained little Prince Louis, who now has a new cousin called Arthur. All very strong names.
Speaking of names, we definitely had some controversial ones. Lizzie McGuire's daughter.
Hilary Duff.
Right, her daughter was named Banks, and Eva Longoria had little Santiago.
Oh, like Amy.
No, like the patron saint of Spain.
Oh, right.
Model and tattooist Kat Von D had little Leafa Von D Sayers. Where did they come up with these?
Well see, his dad's real name is Raphael, so they got all creative and just flipped Raphael. Looking now at the Kardashian clan, their new kids' names can be simply summed up with a short conversation about the weather.
How's Chicago?
Stormy.
True.
I don't think anyone's going to forget the day Kylie released that famous YouTube video revealing not only that she was pregnant, but that she'd had her baby. Technology these days. Alright, I want to know, who got hitched this year?
Okay, so we had Harry and Meghan, Game of Thrones Kit and Rose, Kaylee Cuoco and Carl,
Gwyneth and Brad, Bieber and Baldwin,
Mandy Moore and Taylor,
Quentin T and Daniela,
Nick and Priyanka,
Miley and Liam.
and perhaps the sweetest, we have Revengers, Emily and Josh.
But what about the breakups?
Okay, we have Brandy Glanville and Donald,
Gina Davis and Reza.
Emma Watson and Court Overstreet, Brooklyn Beckham and Chloe Moretz, Iggy and DeAndre,
Oh, Ben Affleck and Lindsay, Robert De Niro and Grace, Haley and Niall, Jennifer Aniston and Justin, and perhaps the saddest, Jenna and Channing.
I know, it still breaks my heart. The future looks both exciting and terrifying, with many developments in the science world. Scientists figured out how to successfully clone monkeys. 2 blind humans had their vision somewhat restored with an experimental stem cell therapy. Researchers in Boston were able to reverse aging in mice, and apparently a chemical that's used in the oil to cook chips at Macca's can be used to produce hair follicles.
Looks like I'll be ordering extra fries from now on.
That's not how it works.
Mars allowed us to find an underground lake and potentially mineable ice just below the surface this year. We're getting closer and closer to being able to live off Earth. There was also an unnerving discovery of a warm-blooded fish. It's called an opa, and due to this it's able to move faster, avoid predators, catch prey.
Well, that's one slippery little fish.
All Australians, I'm sure, remember the time when we almost contracted scurvy as fruit became dangerous to eat.
First it was the needles in the strawberries, then the bananas. It was a scary time. And it was just as strawberries came out on special at the supermarket.
We had the dual citizenship scandal that made Australia the laughing stock of the world, and if that wasn't enough, add in a leadership spill.
Started the year with Turnbull as Prime Minister, finished with ScoMo. How many do you think we're going to have this year?
Oh, my money's on 4.
I say 3.
Huh.
AFL saw West Coast Eagles take out glory against Collingwood, and NRL was the Roosters.
Novak Djokovic and Angelique Kerber were the winners of Wimbledon, and our Melbourne Cup winner was cross-counter.
Mugshots from the famous will always garner interest. Let's add Alec Baldwin to the wall after he got in fisticuffs when another driver stole his parking spot. Totally understandable.
Vince Vaughn got a DUI and Heather Locklear beat up a cop.
TV land had many new arrivals and some forced departures.
Right, Brooklyn Nine-Nine was axed by Fox to be picked up almost immediately by NBC.
Look, Lucifer's fans were not as lucky. They sweated it out much longer after being axed by Fox. It took many days and many petitions before it was finally picked up by Netflix. Come on, Fox, what are you doing?
Right, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Quantico, Scorpion, the unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, and the short-lived return of Roseanne all fell under the blade.
The Connors rose from Roseanne's ashes, and some new arrivals included the disappointing revivals of Charmed and the chilling adventures of Sabrina. Some highlights were Manifest and God Friended Me.
Aussie TV went through some changes, with Channel 10 being bought out by CBS. We now have a channel named after a fruit, and Neighbours doesn't break over Chrissy.
Look, the biggest scandal of the year would have to go to the Aussie Bachelor. We invested week after week watching Nick Honeybadger Cummins try and find love. We all saw him find it with Brooke. She self-sabotaged, left early. Nick proceeded to string us all along and pick nobody at the end. He didn't even want to try and date either of the girls for a bit after the show. It was very disappointing.
Well, you can't keep a good honey badger down. On a sadder note, we lost some incredible people this year. Locally, we had Cornelia Francis, who had a wonderful career. Politically, John McCain and George H.W. Bush.
We also had to say goodbye to Mark Salling and Avicii. Some huge names in Aretha Franklin, Stan Lee, and of course Stephen Hawking.
Changing the pace now, we had the 90th Academy Awards, which saw The Shape of Water win Best Picture. Gary Oldman and Frances McDormand win Best Actor and Actress respectively.
Margot Robbie sadly missed out for I, Tonya, but how exciting to have an Aussie in the mix.
Grant Denyer took out the Gold Logie, and Bruno Mars cleaned up at the Grammys with his 24K magic.
That's some special magic right there. Our industry had many great successes this year, bringing old and young back to the cinemas. Marvel wowed us with Black Panther and Avengers Infinity War.
My mind is still reeling from that one.
Look, mine too. DC's Aquaman was incredible, especially watching 4DX. Water, water, and more water.
Some cute kiddie movies that adults alike can appreciate were produced, including Incredibles 2, Mary Poppins Returns, Bumblebee, and Christopher Robin.
Sequels were in fine form with Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, and Ocean's 8.
Musically, A Star Is Born and Bohemian Rhapsody was simply amazing. Who knew Bradley could sing like that?
And what about Gaga's acting? Wow. Look, lastly you had thought-provoking Love, Simon, which had you engaged the whole time.
With many exciting movies and shows coming out, the future looks promising.
From the team at Occasionally Employed Actors, I am Courtney Adams.
And I'm Dean Nash.
Go get it.